Innumerous tributes to Bud Grant in the coming days, and each bone will be earned. But as we mourn Grant's end and celebrate his life, these tributes figure to be truly different. Annuity, who passed away at the age of 95 on Saturday, will be flashed back by some who actually saw or know about his greatness as a three-sport athlete, baseball, basketball, and football, at the University of Minnesota. Grant also played professionally for the NBA's Minneapolis Lakers, 1949-51, the NFL's Philadelphia Eagles, 1951-52, and the CFL's Winnipeg Blue Bombers, 1953-56. Others, including myself, will flash aft entitlement as the Vikings coach who turned the ballot into a four-time Super Bowl party and a power playing in the rudiments at Metropolitan Stadium. The only thing eventually missing from Grant's capsule being a Super Bowl crown. There was a time when everyone in Minnesota knew that while Vikings opponents set on the Bloomington champagne, Grant made sure his players no way had a sideline heater to huddle around. The piercing regard from those steely blue eyes and the lack of an expression on his face could strike fear in the hearts of players and suckers likewise. Also there is the generation of suckers who no way aphorism entitlement coach a game and only have heard tales of what it was like when the Purple People Eaters made life miserable for opposing quarterbacks. Youthful suckers did get their annuity moment in January 2016 when the Hall of Fame coach walked to the 50-yard line at the Vikings' temporary home, TCF Bank Stadium, wearing short sleeves in -6-degree downfall before a playoff game against Seattle. That game tied for the third coldest in NFL history, and, yet, Grant stood on the field for the coin toss and also on the sideline for the public hymn in short sleeves. He was 88 at the time. As cold as it was, you can be certain some old-timers had rips in their eyes, and others, who only had heard about Grant's non-acceptance to give into the rudiments, realized the stories that their elders had told were anti-fables. All of the remembrances that will be shared about Grant speak to how rich his life was and how multitudinous people he affected. Multitudinous of his former players loved him, and so did multitudinous who no way met him. Annuity is arguably the most notorious sports figure in Minnesota history, indeed, though he was born in Superior, Wisconsin, on May 20, 1927. In multitudinous ways, Grant was Minnesota. From the steely address that he perfectly personified on the sideline, to the fact he was an covetous outdoorsman, Grant represented what the state stands for in so multitudinous ways. Annuity had multitudinous Hall of Fame players on his registries through the times, including quarterback Fran Tarkenton. But, as Vikings owners Mark and Ziggy Wilf said in a statement Saturday, it was Grant who was the most notorious name associated with the ballot. No single existent further defined the Minnesota Vikings than Bud Grant, the Wilfs said. A formerly in a lifetime man, Bud will ever be synonymous with success, continuity, the North, and the Vikings. In short, he was the Vikings. Annuity, through an agreement worked out when he came out of pullout in 1985 following a one-season absence that proved disastrous for the Vikings, had an office at Winter Park and subsequently TCO Performance Center that he could visit whenever he wanted. Vikings coach Kevin O'Connell took advantage of Grant's occasional presence in the last time to talk to a man who counseled his final season the time O'Connell was born. O'Connell was simply trying to be kind. Grant remained sharp until the end and had cornucopia to offer those around him. Last December, I had the pleasure of hearing Grant study about the miracle at the Met, along with quarterback Tommy Kramer and wide receiver Ahmed Rashad, at a hotel that sits on the Met Stadium point. That win came on December 14, 1980, when Kramer connected with Rashad on a 46-yard Hail Mary pass on the final play of the game to give the Vikings a 28-23 win. Multitudinous of Grant's former players also were in attendance. Sitting up on the stage, Grant told stories, poked fun at himself and others, and at 95 still had his fastball. Grant's death 3 months subsequently is sad, but as we celebrate his life it's worth flashing back that Bud remained Bud until the end. And while our remembrances of him might be different, the one thing that's is the respect everyone in the state had for the man. He will be greatly missed.